for having us today. This is their last full day here. They came in on Sunday evening, and it's been hitting the ground ever since. Monday morning, bright and early, we had them at UTA in Barbara Baltall's class. It's a beginning German class, right, Barbara? Barbara, would you please stand? She's an associate professor at UTA. So our first, and if you heard her say hello, Barbara, say hello really loud. Hello, really loud. Hello. Not loud enough. Say more words. Say good evening. I want them to hear your accent, Barbara. Hello. So it was great to be there for the first morning because our German delegation was hearing an accent that they remember, right? So it was a good ease into Texan. So by the time we got to Wednesday, or maybe Tuesday evening, they were picking up y'all, and we all were fixing. They were coming around. Well, you tried to ease them into it, but they had a great time at UTA. They saw the smart hospital. There was a nurse, a former nurse in their delegation. Is Elena here? Crystal? Crystal, stand up. Crystal is a former nurse, a retired nurse, and she was very interested in the smart hospital. So that was a really, really good trip. And then on Tuesday, they were at AT&T Stadium, and they went to Texas Live, and they went to Globe Life Field. And so every time they go in a different place, Sherry, wow. And then when they got to Texas Live and there was all of the TVs, it was hard to get them to move along, to go over to Globe Life Field, but everybody has been so welcoming. And then last night, we had the official signing ceremony. So by Konigshofen and Arlington started under Vandergrift in 1951. Eisenhower didn't form a sister city program until 1956. So when we started becoming twinning cities, if you will, in 1951, there were very, very few cities in the U.S. that were partnering with any city in Germany because of the war. But we did. And I've told this story many, many times. I think it was one of Arlington's most proudest moments. They set aside the war, even though loved ones had been lost on both sides. And all they saw were people who had needs and that we could help. And so there was never an official signing of that relationship. But we did that last night after 72 years. So congratulations. So it was great. We had the Arlington High Alumni Band out there. They were there on the platform in February, I think it was, of '52, when the first trainload of supplies left for Konigshofen. We sent 4 trainloads over an 18-month period of time. To this day, if you visit Bad Konigshofen, you have to be very deliberate because there's not a bus, there's not a train, you got to rent a car and drive. And so anybody that is there from U.S., they quickly recognize that. If you say hello, they know you're Texan. And then the next question is Arlington. And if you say yes, Burgerneister gets a call, Arlington flag goes up to the flagpole, and it stays up as long as you're in the city. You don't have to be a part of a delegation. And that's why I'm so delighted to be here in front of the Rotary, where there you get a chance to meet the people of Arlington. It's great to go to all the events we've been to, but those are kind of staged, if you will. You know, they're on a tour here, we're going there. But here they get to meet people. And that's where the connections happen. This would not be a 72 anniversary if it weren't for the people who carried the ball all by themselves all those years. They need to get back integrated with you and you with them. And we need to be sure we're handing it off to the next generation. That's extremely important. Rotary can play a big part of that with student exchanges, which we have done very little of, but it's time. Because now we're official, and we need to get on it. So anyway, I'm going to sit down and just ask the Burgerneister a few questions, and then we're going to turn it to you to ask him. Is that okay? We're good? All right. You can sit. We can sit. We can sit. We can sit. So Burgerneister Helbring has been in office as Burgerneister for how many years? 8, 10?
15.
15? 15. I missed the mark. 15. He's been there for 15 years. Okay, we're going to get the mic turned on. Oh, there's on.
Thank you. Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. I'm very glad for the invitation to your Rotary Club. We are very honored. It's better when I speak further in German and let translate.
True. So Hans will be our translator. If you'll come forward. Yes, Hans will help. Burgerneister had a beautiful speech last night at the signing, but he had written it out, and it was all in English. It was flawless. It was flawless. He needs a round of applause for going for that. Thank you, Gary. We're going to get you a place to sit, Hans.
You don't want me to tower above you?
No towering above. We're all equals here.
Oh wait, we want that mic there.
Yeah, you want the mic there for sure.
We need something to hang on to.
Okay, well, you
This is Hans Mecker. He is a resident of Arlington. He's clearly very German. He would say anything to you in German, most of which I would not understand. And I quite frankly think he does on purpose. So, we're good here. We're in good hands here. Anyway, so Burgerneister, I loved your introduction, but if you would give them a little bit of a history of your service in Bad Konigshofen and what the relationship with Arlington has meant to you.
Ja, wir haben eine sehr lange Partnerschaft mit Arlington. Das ist eine der längsten Partnerschaften zwischen Deutschland und den Vereinigten Staaten und wir sind als kleine Stadt sehr stolz darauf.
Well, it's one of the oldest relationships between cities in Germany and in the United States, if not the oldest, right? Bad Konigshofen is a very old community establishment.
Wir wurden 741 das erste Mal urkundlich erwähnt.
Okay, 741. I know Dominique the first time that Bad Konigshofen is mentioned in the registry.
So in year 741.
Yeah, what did I say?
Well, you said 741. I want to make sure it wasn't months.
I know Dominique. AD.
I do not speak German. Oh, my God.
AD. English too.
Sometimes, without a German accent, we're good with months.
No, she said I would say anything.
So, as you've been mayor,
As you've been Burgerneister of Bad Konigshofen, so how has the relationship with Arlington been beneficial to Bad Konigshofen? Has it been beneficial just through the contacts that you've had back here, or is it do we learn from each other?
Also als ich Bürgermeister geworden bin im Jahr 2008 bestand die Freundschaft natürlich schon und ich hörte natürlich von meinem Vorgänger und von allem von den Freunden Arlingtons in Bad Konigshofen, dass die auch gelebt wird durch regelmäßige Reisen nach Arlington und auch zu uns.
Yeah, he's mayor of Bad Konigshofen since 2008. Was elected then, and prior to that time, we already heard about the partnership between the cities, Arlington and Bad Konigshofen. So he was more or less informed about what he had to expect.
Und im Jahr 2009 kam eine Delegation der deutsch-texanischen Gesellschaft extra nach Bad Konigshofen und hat uns eingeladen, um zu feiern, diese Auszeichnung von dieser Gesellschaft für diese lange Städtepartnerschaft. Und so war ich im Jahr 2009 das erste Mal hier in Arlington.
So 2009, there was the first delegation from the United States going over to Bad Konigshofen, and they rendered their invitations to the cities of Bad Konigshofen to come and visit and here in the United States.
Ich begrüße ganz herzlich unsere Feuerwehrleute und unseren Polizeioffizier aus Bad Königshofen, die es leider nicht eher geschafft haben.
He says hello to the fire department of Bad Konigshofen. The representation is right back there. They arrived late. I guess they had some fires to fight. It's also, of course, possible that they found somewhere some beer.
Please translate only my words.
After all, it's Oktoberfest time. Prost.
We say, Dienst ist Dienst und Schnaps ist Schnaps.
That's right. Duty is duty and Schnaps is Schnaps. That's right.
I'm not sure if I can follow any of that, but that's okay. You know, one thing I will tell you when you're dealing with people from another country who also speak a different language than you're familiar with, right? You learn to improvise. There's a lot of hand signals. It's almost like maybe I need to learn sign language. And it's like, no, oh no, you know, and I think it's the inflection of your voice that gives them a lot of direction. And then when they say it to me, because it's in German and the inflection is so much stronger than mine, it's like, huh? So I've learned the adaptability that it creates in your, you get pushed out of your comfort zone quite a bit, but that's why I really, really enjoy when they're here, because I learn from them a great deal. So the city itself, as you've heard, was established in 741, so you can imagine the buildings. And what's so great about it, they don't go in and destroy buildings. They find a way to support them and restructure them and use them. So Burgerneister, I would like you to talk a little about the Rathaus. Now, the first time I went there, and they told me we were going to the Rathaus, what I heard was rat house. And I thought, why are we doing, you want to be polite, right? So I'm thinking, why are we going, and so I asked one of the interpreters for English, I said, what is a rat house? And he said, that's the council. And I thought, oh, I'm not taking this one back. So anyway, so Burgerneister, if you describe your city and your structure and a little bit about the Rathaus and how beautiful it is after all of these years.
Ja, wir sind eine kleine Stadt mit 6.400 Einwohnern im Norden von Bayern, aber wir sind stolz daraus, aus Franken, einem Teil von Bayerns, zu kommen.
Well, it's a small community of about 6,400. The population is about 6,400, but they are very proud to be part of Bavaria. Actually, it's Franconia, and Franconians really don't want to belong to Bavaria, but we made it, because that's where I came from. The free independent state of Bavaria, you be part of it, you know that.
We work on it. Unsere Stadt ist in der Nähe zu Thüringen, 7 miles to Thuringia, the earlier German border. It's near to us. And wir sind sehr erfreut, natürlich über die Grenzöffnung. Damit sind wir also mitten in Deutschland und auch mitten in Europa.
Well, all that started 1952 when there was still in East and West Germany, etc., and East Germans escaped over to West Germany, and Bad Konigshofen is very close to the border, Thuringia back then, and so since the border opened up, things got a little better there, right?
Wir sind eine sehr alte Stadt. Wir waren eine Festung, in der früher die Herrscher im Mittelalter waren bei uns die Würzburger katholischen Fürstbischöfe, und sie haben mit dem Bau einer Festung bei uns ihre Macht zum protestantischen Thüringen demonstriert.
As we said earlier, it's a very old town, and it started out as a fortress, and the bishops of Würzburg actually started building their first fortresses there.
Davon sieht man eigentlich nur noch die Umrisse, den Marktplatz mit dem Rathaus der alten Kirche und auch die Straßenzüge, aber von der Festung ist leider nicht mehr so viel zu sehen. Wir haben 2 Heilquellen, die sind später gebaut worden.
So when you explore Bad Konigshofen, you can still see how the city was laid out hundreds of years ago. Of course, the fortress is gone. There's not much left except the church and some other remnants of the town.
Ja, das Rathaus wurde angesprochen, in dem ist eigentlich der Sitz der Verwaltung der Stadt und dort tagt auch der Stadtrat.
Okay, there's City Hall and right in the center of Bad Konigshofen, and that's where the City Council resides.
Wir sind in unserer kleinen Stadt, wir haben 20 ehrenamtliche Stadträte plus Bürgermeister.
We have 20 volunteers as council members in the city, plus mayor.
Ja. Ein Mitglied unseres Stadtrates ist heute auch hier, Frau Petra Friedl.
So one of the council members right here, Councilwoman.
Mit ihrer 11-jährigen Tochter, aber die durfte oder musste heute zur Schule.
She had a daughter with her, but she is going on a school tour around Arlington. Yeah, little, what, 13 years old? 13. Yeah.
Ja, wir als Stadt, wir sind etwas anders organisiert als jetzt die große Stadt Arlington.
We are differently organized as a small community. Very different.
Was ähnlich ist, ist also auch Kindergarten, Schule, Wasserversorgung.
There are, of course, there's the kindergarten, there are the schools, there is public services.
Was nicht allein unsere Aufgabe ist, sind also weiterführende Schulen. Das ist Aufgabe des Landkreises.
Okay, higher education is not part of the business of Konigshofen, so that is the district then responsible for that.
Wir haben aber bei uns alle weiterführenden Schulen bis zum Gymnasium, also alle Schulen hier bis zum Gymnasium.
But they all have all their schools up to college.
Was nicht unsere Aufgabe ist, Polizei. Polizei ist bei uns staatlich. Also es gibt Polizei des Staates Bayern, jeder Bundesländer und auch eine des Bundes, eine Federal Police.
Okay, the police is not their job, etc. That is a higher level that goes to the state of Bavaria or Franconia, right? District, it's
Bavaria.
Yeah. Bavaria.
Und wir haben bei uns aber eine kleine Polizeistation und ein Officer ist heute auch mit uns dabei, der auch diesen Trip sehr genießt. Heute zum Beispiel bei der SWAT-Einheit.
But Bad Konigshofen has a small police station, etc. One of the representatives, a policeman, is here with us today. Get up, man. Well, if I may say so, he had a great time. Earlier today, we visited the SWAT team here in Arlington, and they weighed him down with a 60-pound bulletproof vest, the helmet, and everything you could possibly carry. And I was afraid he would keel over.
Aufgabe der Stadt ist auch Feuerwehr. Wir haben unsere Stadt selber hat 4.300 Einwohner. Mit 7 kleinen Stadtteilen haben wir 6.400 Einwohner.
So they have their own fire department, and what's that? There are 4 districts. How many people? Districts?
7.
Oh, seven districts. The city itself, city area is about 4,000. The population of 4,000, but the entire district is then 6,400.
Ja, und unsere Feuerwehren sind alles Freiwillige, die neben ihrem Beruf Feuerwehrdienst leisten.
The fire department is a volunteer department, and the people that work there certainly volunteer, so it might take a little bit longer before your fire is being received.
Und ich freue mich auch, dass 2 Feuerwehrleute von uns mit dem Kommandanten Jochen Krug heute bei uns sind. Bitte Jochen.
Well, the firefighters had a great time the past few days. They have been shuttling around on the Arlington fire van. They had a fantastic time. The fire department has been taking care of those guys. It was unbelievable.
In der Stadt selber mit gut 4000 Einwohnern. Wir haben zurzeit etwa 300 Flüchtlinge hier bei uns.
One of the things the city has to deal with is about 350 refugees right now from Ukraine.
Die meisten aus der Ukraine, Afghanistan,
Ukraine and Afghanistan,
Syrien, Iran, Irak, Russia, Flüchtlinge aus Russland und auch aus afrikanischen Staaten.
Okay, and we have pretty much the same situation here when it comes to immigrants, etc. You said, but most of them are Eastern Europe and Asia, the refugees that are coming, but there are also quite a few from Africa.
Und wir sind froh, dass wir sie aufnehmen können, und wir haben auch einen Helferkreis durch die Kirchen, aber auch durch die Stadt. Wir hatten schon früher also viele Flüchtlinge, damals nach dem Zerfall der Sowjetunion, und aus diesen ehemaligen Staaten sind viele Spätaussiedler, die auch Wurzeln in Deutschland hatten, zu uns gekommen.
Well, they're happy that they had the opportunity to house all those refugees that are coming in. It started back then when the DDR, the Democratic Republic, dissolved. That's when a lot of refugees come over, and there are several organizations in Bad Konigshofen working together on working with those refugees.
Und als damals der Krieg in der Ukraine losging, wir hatten vorher schon 2 ukrainische Frauen, die schon einige Zeit hier waren, die sofort auch Hilfe organisiert haben und auch mit den Spätaussiedlern dann auch geholfen haben und auch gedolmetscht haben, weil die Spätaussiedler und auch die Ukrainer sprechen alle Russisch, und es gab keine Probleme bei dieser Zusammenarbeit, im Gegenteil.
Since they were from, oops, what happened? Okay, I just talk louder.
We change.
Okay, from when the border was dissolved back then, there were a lot of Russian refugees, etc., that worked in Bad Konigshofen already. When later on the refugees from Ukraine arrived, the Russian population would actually act as translators, interpreters, etc. And the initial worries that they might not get along, the Russians and the Ukrainians, etc., the worries went away because they get along quite well.
Ja, und das klappt eigentlich bei uns ganz gut. Und unsere Freunde aus Arlington hatten damals eben auch gehört von der großen Zahl an Flüchtlingen, die plötzlich kamen, und haben uns auch finanziell unterstützt durch eine großzügige Spende. Vielen Dank dafür. Nochmals.
The city of Arlington became aware back then through whatever online meetings that we had with Arlington that there was a great need to support the Ukrainians, or the refugees coming from Ukraine. And the city of Arlington has immediately sprung into action and started a collection. Within just a month or 2 months, a substantial amount of money was being transferred to Bad Konigshofen to help out with all kinds of services, medical, gasoline for the trucks, something, all kinds of stuff to refugees camps, etc. It was a very much appreciated help.
Und auch aus unserem County gingen einige Hilfstransporte in die Ukraine direkt, also über Polen in die Ukraine. Und unsere Helfer konnten eben sehen, dass also auch da dringend die Unterstützung gebraucht wurde.
Okay, so from
Was machst du?
I never touched that thing. Okay. I don't know what I'm doing. I'm too old for this modern stuff. Well, from Bad Konigshofen, there were several truckloads then going via Poland into Ukraine to help out the people. And as I understand, the truck drivers, trucks, all that was free, provided by Bad Konigshofen.
Fireworkers.
Yeah, so all that was a free service and volunteers driving day and night to get the stuff over there. That's where some of the money that Arlington donated went to as well.
Also die Flüchtlinge, die zu uns kommen und die bei uns bleiben, sind meistens Familien, oft mit vielen Kindern. Die alleinstehenden Männer, die wollen lieber in größere Städte, weil da mehr los ist und das ist für uns ganz gut so.
So the people, Ukrainians that came to Bad Konigshofen were mostly families with children, but then he also says that men actually were going towards the larger cities because there was more happening there. So mostly women and children in Bad Konigshofen, or
most families with children.
just yeah, and a single man that just moved on and went to larger areas in Germany, cities.
Okay. Do you have any questions for me?
Some questions for the Burgerneister? We could share so much more.
We could share so much more, but the story it has so many good points to it. But the most recent thing he told you was we came together once I knew that they were becoming a refugee center for the Ukrainians. So I called Mayor Ross and I said, I think history is about to repeat itself. They once again have refugees and they once again need help. And so you raised $32,000 that went directly from our bank account to BK's bank account. There was no middleman. So they got all the money. There was no service fee. And they hired teachers and they hired interpreters for Russian and Ukraine. But as the Burgerneister said, they had some Russian people there who helped the Ukrainians. But they got along, that amazed me. So we once again were able to help. And I don't know the better legacy that we can have for the next generation than the compassion that we have expressed to BK, as we call it, and the friendship that exists, and the fact that we're now official, right? That's great. So if you've got questions for the Burgerneister, he's here. I know you're getting short on time, but please ask questions.
It's my job to ask the first question.
Of course, we knew that.
My question is this. Many American journalists have written that Germany is the strongest economy in the European Union, and that the other members of the European Union are happy to help themselves from what Germany produces. According to these same journalists, there is a movement in Germany to leave the European Union, similar to Brexit. Is that true? And if so, is it likely that Germany will leave the European Union?
Well, I did, there's quite a bit that I missed here that we didn't.
Well, he may have.
That would be very kind, yeah. And a little less.
Burgerneister?
No,
No, okay. Okay.
I got stuck.
I shouldn't complain. I got myself into this. Is Germany a proud member of the European Union? And is there, in fact, a movement in Germany to leave the European Union, similar to England's Brexit?
Nein, ich glaube, Deutschland und auch Frankreich sind die starken Kräfte, auch um Europa zu gründen damals auch und auch um das beizubehalten. Also von uns gibt es keine Bestrebungen. Wir waren sehr traurig auch und enttäuscht, dass Großbritannien die Europäische Union verlassen hat und ich glaube, das haben sie aber mittlerweile auch schon bereut.
What is Germany and France were mostly the states or the countries involved in founding the European Union. And there is no movement actually getting out of the European Union like the Brits did. And what he said, most of the people in Britain already are not too happy that they left the European Union.
Thank you.
What percentage of the 6,400 people speak English? And the second question is, what's your main industry in your area?
Also bei uns lernen alle Schüler in der Schule Englisch. Es tut leid, bei mir ist es halt schon 40 Jahre her.
Basically, every kid in Germany has to learn a second language, and very often a third language even. So he learned English, of course, at school, but that was about 40 years ago, so he didn't know much left.
Und auch in den, die sich weiterbilden, die studieren, die gute Berufe haben, auch in unserer Gruppe sprechen viele auch sehr gut Englisch. Und das ist einfach die Weltsprache Nummer 1.
Well, English is the business language, and language number 1 worldwide, so it makes sense that everybody learns English. And here it just depends on if you practice or not. Do you use it a lot? Do you not use it a lot?
What's the most popular beer in Germany?
Every beer.
Jetzt kann ich eigentlich nur was Falsches sagen. Also wir sagen, es gibt natürlich die großen Fernsehbiere, für die überregional geworben wird. Ich sage zum Beispiel Erdinger Weißbier, ein bayerisches Weißbier, was sehr bekannt ist. Aber die Besonderheit sind eigentlich die regionalen kleinen Brauereien, die immer mehr kommen und die regional auch gut wieder getrunken werden. Aber aus finanziellen Gründen müssen sich halt doch viele kleinere auch zusammenschließen, weil der Wettbewerb hart ist.
Well, of course, there are the large breweries that everybody knows worldwide. It's Löwenbräu, you know, it's coming from the Oktoberfest, Opalana, and all those. But the smaller regional breweries are coming back and are getting more and more. And certainly the people live in the village, they drink their own beer. There are the beer wars going on, more or less, between regions. Löwenbräu and Opalana, for example, there are Oktoberfest beers. Everybody knows them, everybody drinks it. The other can't anymore.
Ich denke, es gibt gute Biere, besonders gut gekühlt, und ich habe auch hier schon sehr gutes Bier bekommen und freue mich auch heute Abend wieder auf ein kühles, helles.
I think he has been talking about Shiner Bock. But he said, well, you have some good beers in the United States too, and I had some good ones. But Shiner's a good one.
I must make one comment about that. When they got in on Sunday night, we took them to Gilligan's. They've been to Gilligan's before. But I will say most of this delegation is new. Very new people have come on this particular trip. They want to go to Gilligan's, so we took them to Gilligan's. The firefighters wanted Lone Star beer. Because it was Lone Star. We're going, that's the worst beer we had. But okay. We finally got them converted over to Shiner Bock, and it took about it. But anyway, thank you for having us. It was very lovely. Thank you very much.
Ich möchte mich nur noch ganz kurz bedanken, also wirklich für die tolle Einladung, auch dass Sherry es möglich gemacht hat. Ich denke im Namen unserer ganzen Reisegruppe hier. Ich bin mittlerweile auch schon das 4. Mal mit meiner Frau zusammen in Arlington und wir genießen es sehr. Und vielen Dank für Ihre freundliche Aufmerksamkeit.
Yeah, Rotary wants to say thank you for the welcome here. He is the 3rd time in Arlington already with his wife, and he enjoys his stay every time. And again, thank you to all of you for your friendly welcome. It was outstanding.